Hi there, my name's Phil. I've just completed my very first project using an airless sprayer. In our 1930s house, the lounge room has a lot of decorative cornices and ceiling roses. It was gonna take me forever just using a brush. So I started doing the research on spray painting because I knew professionals were doing it. And I thought I'd do a quick video on some hints and tips, pros and cons of using an airless sprayer for those of you who might be thinking about buying one or renting one or using one. First up, quick confession, I'm not a professional painter. I do enjoy painting, but I've just been using brushes and rollers all my life. Airless sprayers have never been on my radar. And then of course, once you start researching, Google throws up the algorithm and you're bombarded by advertising about all the different types and brands and what you can do. So I settled on this, the VEVOR. It's Chinese, 220 Australian dollars. Fairly good value for money, I think. There was a wide choice in that price range that I could have chosen from. Some of the reviews I read on some other brands weren't so encouraging. You can do your own research about which brand you'd like to use. I think they're all pretty much compatible around this price range. So having said that, here are some tips and hints and pros and cons of an airless sprayer. Okay, tip number one. Read the manual, but also search out videos online that relate to your model. I found the instruction manual that came with the VEVOR lacking in a little bit of information. Namely, things like they tell you how to connect the gun hose, but they don't tell you anything about attaching these intake hoses and outlet hoses. Now, that might not be a big deal, but there are little clamps that come with them and they're in a separate pouch. And if you miss that, well, you know, they could pop off while you're using it. Just small little things, so you really want to make sure that you understand the unit. Tip number two, very important, be super vigilant and prep like mad in the room. A lot of people buy airless sprayers for fences and outdoor work, and that's fine because the spray dissipates. But inside a room, these units overspray like there's no tomorrow. So I had decorative trim, windows, I had a piano I couldn't move, I had to cover everything, I had to mask up all the wooden trim. It took me 3 times longer than it would normally do with a brush, because a brush you might get one drip here or there. These things spray everywhere. As a matter of example, this is a drop cloth. Started out just blue, and it's like snow covered after using it. Tip number 3, ventilation. Working in a closed space, and I had to keep my doors closed. I didn't want the overspray going, so I made sure that I was wearing a good quality respirator. I had goggles on, I even had the painting coveralls on, because as I said, the overspray goes everywhere, the room's full of mist. As soon as I finished painting and that overspray had settled, windows and doors open to get the fresh air in there. Tip number 4, they don't really tell you this. These machines are thirsty, they suck paint like there's no tomorrow. I calculated that the ceiling cornices and roses were going to take about 4 litres with 2 or 3 coats, 6 litres, and I only just made it. I had to go back to the paint shop for another 2 litres. But the payoff is I only needed to do 1 coat. The sprayer puts on such a lovely, thick, even coat that it's covered up all the old paint, which was a darker colour, and you can't see it coming through. Okay, so tip 5, takes longer to prep. It is quicker to paint and usually can get away with 1 coat, but you do have to spend time on the cleanup, and that's very important. The horror stories about spray painting is everything clogging up, your guns, your tips, your nozzles, the pumps and everything. So take good care of it and spend the time. I spent an hour and a half doing all the cleanup that the manual said, and I also got some extra tips online as well. You're going to need a lot of cleanup buckets to go in between, but that's fine, they're pretty cheap. So that's my conclusion on an airless sprayer. Great for what I wanted it for, and I'll probably use it for a few other projects around the house. Good luck with your painting endeavours. Thanks for watching.